Good morning. It's just 7:30 in the morning. I started to do a video walking along my favourite little piece of local farmland round the back here. And my battery died, so I'm back inside. But trying to keep the same thought pattern in my mind, I thought I've been doing a bit of thought about many of the bloggers that are out there talk about Filipino family. And this is not a reflection on anybody in particular or any particular family, but I think it's pretty true to say that all families are made up of all different all different ways of thinking. When a when a foreigner joins the family, so to speak, and I'll say joins the family because that's really what happens. It's nothing more than just another family member. Unfortunately, foreigners are seen not quite the same as another Filipino joining the family, but certainly an addition, a nice addition in many cases. There's an expectation that life will take a different direction now that there's a foreigner amongst them all. Sometimes you get families that are split from their husbands or wives, and the families still consider the estranged member of the family as still one of them. Uh, you may well find that they share each other on their Facebook or whatever it is, WhatsApp. So they never really lose that connection. But I wonder how many foreigners who may be split from their family will be seen in the same light. Will the other family members still stay in contact, watch what he's doing or where he is now? I tend to think maybe not. I think it's only a case of out of sight, out of mind. But it is a general comment that families do form a major nucleus of society here in the Philippines. No matter where we live, funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, they often come out of the woodwork. They travel from long distances away to join in reunions, and you get to meet the other members of the family that you never really heard about. They were probably talking about them, but you wouldn't have recognized that that was what was going on. Sorry for the snipple, but I've got either a bit of hay fever or maybe just a simple cold. Very annoying. I wondered actually if it's the aircon. Not used to the aircon, I suppose. But, you know, when times are hard, families are supposed to pull together no matter what. It's like the idea that a Filipino will say to you, even when it's their last meal that they prepared, and there's no likelihood necessarily until they get paid for more food in the house, they will ask you to join them. They will offer you to sit down and have a bowl of rice, a bit of fish, or a little bit of meat, and often a drink as well. And that's very common here, and it's sometimes maybe overlooked by foreigners. The idea that they'll give you their last piece of food rather than themselves eating it. It shows the generosity within the society that we are now finding ourselves amongst. You know, if there's money, again, within reason, there's always going to be somebody who's in dire strait, and it's needed to get them out of the mess they're in. Do family rally round and help? Generally speaking, I would have said yes. but I've also witnessed myself the desperation of some when they really did need that helping hand. And the family, I suppose, saw it as maybe, well, that's your problem, mate, not mine, which is surprising because I always thought that families rally around and help, but I also realize that many families who have done that in the past probably feel a little bit overstretched and feel that maybe they need to show them that you can't just keep putting your hand out just because they maybe have a good salary from overseas or even here in the Philippines. But I would say generally that they do rally together. But you have to remember that families are made up of different dimensions. Some are closer to their siblings than others. And when you have a large family with lots of brothers and sisters, there's rivalry between them all because often they're born sporadically over a period of time, and there's not always a close age gap between the different siblings. Some are maybe 10 or even longer between the last child and the first. So the ones that are older tend to stick together because they're closer in generation. And the others that come along later, the straggling ones, the last born, are the ones that end up being, I suppose, cast aside a little bit. And therefore, there may be a generational attitude towards helping them. And that's sad to see because, after all, once a brother or a sister, you always remain that. But I've also seen how Filipinos, or when you first meet the family, they will greet you with a feeling of open arms and pleasure and abundance of friendliness. But after a while, you just become another plate on the table. And when you're with one of the siblings, you'll find that you are seen more as connected to them rather than the family itself, which is right, I suppose, because when you get married or you move in with someone, you're seen as the partner of that person, and therefore the responsibility lies now with the partner. After all, the times that they might have asked for help themselves has diminished, and they realize that you have responsibilities to them. Not to them, I should say, but to maybe their brother or their sister. And that's sad that you do that because you often end up having gatherings of the family. And there's a feeling of togetherness there. There's the continuous taking of photographs of each other at the event. But if you observe closely, you'll find that the photographs don't always include all members together. So that sort of tells you in a subtle way that there is still a little bit of rivalry between the two parties. You only have to go to their Facebook and see the ones that they post often neglect to show the whole family. They tend to focus on the ones that are nearest and dearest to them. Of course, that's just one part of living in the Philippines. It's one part of understanding what a family is. Family is what you make it. The unit that you make, the closeness of that unit is up to you as the foreigner. We can't spend too much time worrying about uncles and aunts and things like that when clearly they're not really that interested in you, unless, of course, there's something to be gained. They will often talk highly of you, but words don't really mean much if the action isn't the same. And eventually you'll start to realize that what holds their line of thought often is just money. It's all down to money. We live in the West, it's all down to money. Here in the Philippines, of course, it's down to money. Money is the one thing that we have all in common. How much do you get as salary, sir? How much do you get as a pension, sir? They always want to know what amount of money you have. Oh, that's a lot. But my advice is don't tell people how much you get. In many ways, it's better to be vague, even with your partner, because you never know whether the pressures of the family are at her back, asking her to try and get some money for them. So remember, the pressure is on your partner often to acquire some money, maybe for education, maybe for just simply to help out in the family. You're better off providing maybe a bag of rice every couple of months, but don't make it regular. If you make it regular, and the next 2 months comes by, they'll wonder why is the rice not there. They've been starting to spend the money that they would have done on the rice, and they're realizing, whoops, it's not coming this month. Then you get a situation when you can build a feeling of resentment, and nobody wants that within the family. Excuse me. But it's all about recognizing the things around you. Spending more time observing your family is better than moaning about them, bitching about uncle this or uncle that or auntie this. It's better to focus on the positive sides of family gathering or family nature. In my case, we had family. We had family that were many hours away, and we hardly ever saw them. But when we did see them, certainly when I saw them, I always tried to make them feel, I suppose, excited to see me. And my hand wasn't forth with money. It was just acknowledging that, oh, there you are. Good to see you. And that is worth more than money to them as well, to be feel that somebody in the group is actually still pleased to see them. Because you can observe other members of family who come together for gatherings that there's a sort of a wall between them and the others. They're courteous, they're polite, and hopefully they don't get into major confrontation while they are together. But it's important that we make everybody feel good about the gathering or the sharing of time together. And who better to do it, to bring the two sides together than a foreigner? A foreigner who has, in many cases, changed the lives of one or two of those members of family by just being a part of that group. You know, kids will always be kids, and they'll always remain that. And you will always be seen as the old codger amongst them, who's a foreigner. But they don't have a wall between them. They come up and they chat to you, and that's great. Great that they can try their English out on you, can enjoy having you there because that interplay, that chatting and larking about with them is good for them, and it's a delight for you to feel a part of something. And children do bring that together. So, guys, don't feel negative about being a part of a Filipino family. Don't be in such a haste to put yourself many hours away from each other, because by doing that, you isolate yourself from what is truly going to be a great experience being a part of a family. So, That's my thought for the day, and I hope you enjoyed listening. If you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Wish me well. I hope it goes away soon. And you have a lovely weekend. Bye now.